And it's a new one. They're making a new addition to next year's calendar with the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. It's going to be a night race, and it's going to be in November. We don't know what the track's going to look like or the layout or anything like that. We just know that it's going to be kind of on the shore of the Red Sea there in Saudi Arabia. So a new addition, a new country coming into Formula One. And it's most likely going to be the second to last race, the penultimate race to the season, with Abu Dhabi most likely staying in that spot for next season if all things go according to plan. But we don't know the 2021 schedule apart from this, basically. But we got one new addition to next year's calendar. There's not much to really talk about in terms of this, just a new location for Formula One to go into, Kyle.
Yeah, from a pure racing perspective, it's always fun to go to a new country, a new circuit, new layout, one of which we don't know yet, which is always going to be interesting from that perspective. But going to Saudi Arabia for a Grand Prix just kind of adds to maybe the negative publicity for Formula One here, and going to countries that have plenty of human rights issues. And we look at the fact that they've had Grand Prix plenty of times in Bahrain, and we know the long history of human rights issues just recently with both Bahrain and Formula One and the protests when they first went there, and the whole messy history there between the two, but also countries like China as well, and continuously going there for Grand Prix. So it's clear and it's unfortunate that F1 doesn't really care about where they go for their Grand Prix as long as there's a check coming with it, which you understand from a business perspective. But when you have the slogan, "We race as one," and you kind of promote that all season long, and then at the end of the season, or before even the end of the season, you announce that you're going to Saudi Arabia for a Grand Prix next season, it kind of leaves that kind of, okay, what are we actually doing here thing? And it'll be interesting to see the fallout from this announcement. There's been plenty of uproar on social media about it. There's been calls for boycotts from drivers already. So as we get closer to this first race in Saudi Arabia, it's going to be fascinating to see what the news stories are like, if any drivers decide to do anything about that, or teams, and just generally what's going to happen here. But if we go with kind of what we've seen in the past in these kind of situations, specifically with Bahrain, we doubt that anything will really happen of it. So from a racing perspective, of course, adding a new circuit's always fun. But from the actual moral perspective, there's definitely some question marks to be had for this decision.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow in some respects here. We'll see how it all ends up going for next season. Who knows? I mean, everything at this point is tentative with the way the world is right now. So we'll see what happens in the future. And it's a long time until 1 year's time on the calendar. So we'll see how that all ends up. But,
and hopefully we'll be getting the two new circuits that we were supposed to get this year as well, in Hanoi, Vietnam, that street circuit, which is insane. I've been trying to figure it out on F1 2020 this week, and it's not gone well, I'll just say that. And then also Zandvoort in the Netherlands, which is going to be a fun addition as well. So
yeah, tons of new circuits.
Yeah, trying to find the silver linings to this announcement at least. But yeah, it's going to be a wild news story to follow as we get closer and closer to that race date.